I'm a big fan of high-quality portable hi-fi, and one of the first players that really sounded good in my life was the FiiO X7. I bought it quite a long time ago, brand new in a store. Back then it cost 700 euros, which, mind you, was more than half of my salary. If my wife knew the price then, she would have kicked me out with the FiiO X7. About a month ago, I bought myself a FiiO M23. It's a portable player, amplifier, and digital to analog converter, and for a whole month I listened to it with headphones. Hi-Fi Man Sundara open back planar magnetics with focal Bathys headphones, though they don't need an amplifier or digital to analog converter since everything is built in. And to be honest, I have to admit I was guilty of that. Using a 3.5mm jack, I connected the FiiO M23 to reference Studio Monitor Speaker's Reflector Audio Square 2 and listened to the FiiO M23 with this wonderful setup. Its frequency response is a straight line, and this frequency response is tuned specifically for the premium Hi-Fi Studio. So with these speakers you can hear all the flaws of the digital to analog converter, the player, the cables, in general any device. And I decided to Google what kind of miracle the FiiO M23 actually is. And on the NetBox channel I came across a downright devastating review of this portable player.
Hello fellow audiophiles, FiiO M23 has finally reached me and I'm a bit puzzled by this player.
They said the design is terrible, it's a heavy brick. Android 10 is outdated and the Snapdragon 665 is just plain junk. How can you even use it? It's already 5 years old. Dear friends, the sound is screechy, sharp and kind of weird. They put in some completely random power amplifiers for the headphone output. But NetBox points out that the Asahi Kasei Microdevices digital to analog converter is still top tier and expresses his confusion. How did all these flaws and strange things end up in this player? Well, let's go through everything step by step.
I thought this player would be the next step after M11S. The M11S cost $400, so let this one cost $500, so it doesn't compete too much with the M15S. In the end, it turns out that it costs $700.
The first confusion for the NetBox channel is the price of the FiiO M23, 750 euros at the time of preparing this review. Why is that? Why is the FiiO M23 so expensive compared to the FiiO M11S? I'm answering this question. The FiiO M11S is a fundamentally different device. It has a different digital to analog converter and different headphone amplifiers. And the FiiO M11S has half the output power of the FiiO M23. FiiO M11S sounds very exciting. We had it in the store and you could test it, but unfortunately the device is no longer being produced. It's gone and it will never come back. Thanks to the top-tier digital to analog converter and the desktop mode of the FiiO M23, it allows you to achieve almost stationary power from a portable source. So this is not a drawback, it's a feature and an advantage. By having a portable source in your pocket and connecting it to a power supply via USB-C, you get almost stationary power. And any audiophile who listens to planar magnetic headphones will say, guys, power is important. And if you think power doesn't matter, well, just connect your headphones directly to your phone.
It uses the AK4499 digital to analog converter, which is definitely good. Well, they made an obvious mistake with the amplification. So they used THX AAA 78 plus amplifiers here, the same as in the FiiO K17, but not the same as in the M17 and some desktop models. Those are 778, not 78 plus. They're higher class amplifiers. Consequently, we get a great digital to analog converter that requires expensive components, expensive and other elements, and not just simple amplifiers.
The second factor that puzzled the NetBox channel was, why aren't the amplifiers good enough when we have such a great digital to analog converter? I'm answering the question. If you look at the table that's now shown on the screen, you'll see that the THX AAA 78 Plus amplifiers are a near top tier option. These are mobile amplifiers. And if you look at the bottom row of this table, you'll see that the THX AAA 778 amplifiers take up much more space, consume 5 or even 15 times more electricity, and are known for their high heat output. So, dear friends, if you put a THX AAA 778 into this player instead of what's inside now, then all audiophiles would have to walk around with a cooler on their back and a car battery in a trolley, all in order to enjoy high quality sound. Guys, the THX AAA 778 amplifiers are stationary amplifiers. They can only be put into very large devices, which can either be stationary or portable, but with very bulky batteries. And carrying them around would be a real pain. The next complaint voiced by the NetBox channel is about the Snapdragon 665, which is a 5-year-old Snapdragon. Actually, I googled it and it has the 660 Snapdragon, but it's also 6 years old as of today. There's little difference with the 665. So, dear friends, you know that the internal combustion engine used in modern cars was invented more than 150 years ago, and it still works without any fundamental changes. Yes, they added injection, yes, they added an electronic control system, but by and large the principle hasn't changed. Same here. Tidal, the internal player, and FiiO all work smoothly. Android 10. It's not top tier, but Android 10 is good enough that nothing lags or crashes. Many reviewers say that there are some bugs, lags, glitches, and so on. Guys, I've been using it for a month, day by day. There was one glitch that didn't crash the device or stop the music. The Tidal app just froze. I closed the app and everything worked again. So the conclusion is, why change something that works? Everything runs smoothly now. The channel also expresses some confusion about the device's design.
The design matches the M11 Plus.
They ask why the FiiO M23 looks so much like the FiiO M11 Plus. What's happening here? Couldn't they have come up with something different? Dear friends, in this regard, there really isn't much you can come up with. The player should be designed to fit comfortably in your hand. The touch panel for volume control is right at hand. The channel says it's inconvenient.
There's a controversial touch panel for volume control. I recommend disabling this touch panel right away.
But I don't know. In the initial hours of use, I would really say that it's the touchpad that's unusual, and I even turned it off at first. You can really do that, but then I turned it back on, and, in the end, it seemed really cool to me. Because, guys, touch volume control, it's a really cool feature. But if you don't like it, you can actually turn it off without even going into the settings. There's a button here, and that's it. Everything is turned off, all the buttons are locked, nothing happens. You need to move something again, turn it on, and everything is fine. So if the device's design is originally made for your hand, one hand, or rather one finger on the touch panel, the other switches tracks. Pause, stop, what else can you come up with here? What else can you suggest here? But tell me, dear friends, is it really so? In order to impress the NetBox channel, is it really necessary to place all the control buttons on the bottom panel? So that someone would have an opportunity to say, look at how unusually the buttons are placed. They're right here, unlike others. But that would just be really inconvenient. But if the design is actually comfortable for the hand, then keep it. All that's left is to refine it. So it would be perfect and suitable for all. So yes, there are some controversial points, but honestly it's a cool design, and I like it. The next downside, provided by the NetBox channel, is that they are inconveniently positioned, guys. The keys for switching tracks, pause and play.
And naturally, the keys for switching tracks and play pause, in my opinion, are not designed very well because they blend together.
What can I say, gentlemen? In my opinion, the button is quite easy to find. The middle button has a tactile marking. You can feel a bump on it. You put your finger on it. Yeah, pause, play, play, pause, play, no problem. Move your finger down. Yeah, next track, one position up. Pause, play, pause, play, pause, play. Finger up, previous track, previous track, previous track. Guys, I don't know what the problem is. Everything is marked just perfectly for my fingers. Dear NetBox, sorry for this kind of video, but I'm honestly confused how you could mess up such a great player like this. I'm already tired, friends, of discussing what the NetBox channel dislikes, but they just said they don't like the player. Well, what can I say here? There's no accounting for taste. If you don't like the FiiO M23 player, then just listen to music on your phone. With Focal Bathy's headphones, which you can try out at our store, any phone sounds great. One of the most frustrating disappointments in the video with NetBox is that NetBox claims the FiiO KA17 portable dongle sounds better than the FiiO M23.
This one sounds better, costs $150. This one sounds worse, costs $700.
How is that possible? FiiO KA17 is 160 euros, while FiiO M23 is 750. But KA17 sounds better. Why is that? Let me explain. FiiO KA17 can't sound better than FiiO M23 because FiiO KA17 is a fundamentally different product. It's a digital to analog converter and a headphone amplifier, that's it. It can't play files, you can't listen to Tidal, Spotify, Qobuz or other streaming services. You need a phone as a source. And so you don't get full functionality or access to direct stream digital files. How can you do that in FiiO M23? The FiiO KA17 only has one headphone amplifier on board, the THX AAA28, while the FiiO M23 has two of them. And here a full-fledged balanced architecture is implemented. If this one has dual mono, which is also good, then this one has a balanced architecture with one amplifier for each ear cup of the headphones. And that's twice as cool as the FiiO KA17 dongle. By the way, the FiiO KA17 sounds great. We have a review on our channel, you can check it out. If you want, you're welcome to visit the Premium Hi-Fi store. Come and compare the FiiO KA17 and the FiiO M23, and then you'll have the chance to evaluate the sound quality of both devices for yourself. The next point that the NetBox channel is puzzled about is the aggressive sound of the player.
But in the case of the FiiO M23, the sound was made too aggressive. It doesn't become like a sawmill or anything, but you understand that in the FiiO KA17, the sound is a bit calmer.
You know, yes, I actually noticed that the FiiO M23 can sometimes sound aggressive. But, dear friends, if musicians record music with drive and attack, then the FiiO M23 shows it. While the rest, simpler devices, can smooth it out and hide it so that the sound is more comfortable for us. A vivid example is the recordings of Yuri Lipinski, audiophile recordings. When I listen to a recording by Yuri Lipinski, I can clearly hear the aggressive, loud sound with an expander on the high frequencies and boosted bass. It's not because the FiiO M23 is like that, it's because the recording is like that. At the same time, Yuri Lipinski's recordings sound very good on most good systems. But when the system reveals more than an ordinary good system, then yes, the sound can be aggressive. But, interestingly, I only heard this aggressiveness with the Hi-Fi Man Sundara headphones. This aggressiveness also appears with the focal bathies when you listen to them wired. But when connected to the Audio Square Reflector 2, I don't hear any aggressiveness. I can't explain it, but the sound becomes more comfortable. And I compared the incomparable. I compared the sound of FiiO M23 with the sound of Eversolo DMPA 6 Gen 2 Master Edition. Here it is, standing right here. A top-tier device. No, not top-tier. A near top-tier device that cost 1400 euros, while the FiiO M23, excuse me, costs only 750 euros. And you know, the FiiO M23 is in no way inferior in sound quality to the Eversolo DMPA 6 Master Edition Gen 2, which costs 1400, almost twice as much. So it's a very decent device for its price. Of course, listening to a portable player with active speakers that cost 6800 is some kind of audiophile blasphemy, but nevertheless, I did it, and I'm very satisfied with the result. Another issue with the sound, which NetBox channel didn't like, is the dirty sound at high frequencies when the volume is high.
Here they decided to add some extra punchiness to the sound. And all that leads to the fact that at high frequencies, sometimes it doesn't sound completely clean. That is, it turns into a slight but still noticeable muddiness.
You know, I can't say there's a muddy sound. Rather, there are bad recordings that sound crappy, and FiiO M23 shows that. But when you listen to a high-quality recording in direct stream digital format, there are absolutely no questions about the sound quality. By the way, there's a very interesting feature here. You can play all your recordings in direct stream digital format. Here's the button. It even says DSD. Can you imagine? Any of your old worn-out MP3s from the 2000s with a bitrate of 96 kilobits per second suddenly turn into the wholly direct stream digital audiophile super duper mega format. I tried listening with this button, but I didn't hear any difference, and it drains the battery a lot. So this button is cool for those who believe that you can blow up an MP3 to direct stream digital and get better sound quality. But actually I couldn't do it. If you manage to write a comment,
or you can buy this thing on ancient Android hardware, this heavy one. After all, it's not small with all this questionable control.
And the final thing that the NetBox channel didn't like, it's heavy, has inconvenient controls, and runs on ancient Android. Basically, it's just a list of what was already mentioned. Dear friends, well, it's impossible to make a top flagship player that's as light as a phone and as powerful as a super-duper computer. For example, a simpler and calmer model is the FiiO M21. By the way, it's already available in our store. You can order it or come by to listen and compare how it all sounds together and separately. In general, in any variations that are possible, we have them available here. In my opinion, the device turned out to be very decent. It's made beautifully, elegantly, and with quality. It has a good ergonomic design. I really like how Android works. I'm just thrilled with how the FiiO player works, because it reads absolutely all the files that I put on my secure digital discs, secure digital flash drive, whatever it's called, I don't know. It reads all QI files, ISO and DSD and everything else I tested. Even when added chaotically, everything works. The sound quality is just amazing. You can listen to it as a portable device on battery power. It gets as warm as a cat, but it sounds absolutely divine. If you want even better sound, you connect a USB-C charger from your laptop and turn on ultra-high gain mode with super power and even faster, more detailed sound. Would you like to listen? Welcome to the Premium Hi-Fi store. We are located in Riga and we connect people with sound. This was Arkady Zinin for you, and may the force of the right sound for you be with you. Visit us.